in the actual fuck? Can somebody explain to me? Don't explain to me, obviously, but the last panel says this battle is going to be what people call the determining factor for the events that happen later on. Did Oda just kill Ace? Because I wasn't expecting Blackbeard, goofy ass Blackbeard, the fat, sloppy looking motherfucker Blackbeard, to be this powerful. Because Ace, like, this is the thing, Ace has that expression on his face like Vegeta did right before Vegeta's atonement happened in the English dub, or in the manga. Vegeta basically self-destructed, but he has that look of contentment on his face. And just like Vegeta was thinking about making the sacrifice, even though he knew he was going to hell, making the sacrifice to protect Bulma and everyone else by blowing himself up to stop Majin Buu, Ace uses, I believe it's called the Commander Flame. And Ace and Blackbeard, there's this huge explosion where they meet and collide, and you see Ace's hat. And it's just his hat, nothing else. And Blackbeard have been putting the work in on Ace throughout this whole chapter. Did Oda just kill Ace? Holy shit. And the only thing with this is, like, I'm always a big proponent of, like, Oda don't kill shit. Motherfucker don't have any balls. And the only thing I would say now is, personally, I don't feel as invested in Ace as a character. I've been told that, like, when I get caught up in the anime, there's like I'm at the start of Alabasta, like, they've made the decision to go there. But I've been told, like, hey, what you gotta understand, there's a filler arc where Ace is in it, and there's some great information and backstory with Ace and Luffy as kids. So maybe if I would have saw that beforehand, I'd have more investment. Right now I don't feel too invested in Ace. It's just more that thing, like, Ace is Luffy's big brother. Shanks sees something in him. We get a little bit of character information based on the fact that Garp said something about him. So it's like Oda's putting Ace in position, and I don't think he would kill him off right now. If he did, I've been saying he needs to kill some characters, but this is too early. This is too early. Like, this would be like, oh fuck, it's not Tyrion, it's not Jaime, whoever the little kid was, I can't remember his name, the little kid that was the ruler in Game of Thrones. It's like killing his ass off in season 1. It's too early. You got to set him up and then let him be killed off after that. Like, it's a little too early to kill off Ace. So that's the only thing that's giving me a little hope, is because I see so much in Oda's writing style that I love and I respect, and I'm able to kind of look at what he would do from a craft perspective. I don't think he would do it, because it doesn't feel like this is an Oda type moment to kill off that character yet. With that being said, the fight itself was fucking bananas. Like, Blackbeard's devil fruit power, like Ace, I thought he was popping shit, because Ace was like, hey, if you really had a low gear type fruit, then those fireballs I shot at you, you wouldn't get hurt by them. Your body would be immune to it. And the trade-off, according to Blackbeard, is this dark fruit. So I was right, it is called the dark fruit. But the dark fruit allows him to absorb attacks and kind of suck them in exchange for being able to negate everything, crush it with gravity, and then basically use the liberation to spit everything out in chunks like debris. He's able to do a bunch of crazy shit, but the trade-off is he has to feel pain. He can't make himself invulnerable to physical attacks. And now I see why he called it the greatest devil fruit, because destructive capability wise, it's probably not fucking with Enel's devil fruit, right? But at the same time, the fact that he can take away a devil fruit user's powers and take away their ability to become intangible and actually combat them, he puts the work in on Ace and says, look, you dumbass, I bet this is the first time that you've actually taken a punch in a long time. And there's something to be said about that. Like, you get fucking confident to a point where it's just like, you don't realize that you can be touched. you don't realize that you might not be as skilled as you are. But that's not the case with Ace. Ace, it shows in this chapter that, yeah, he has advantages with a devil fruit, but if Ace had to actually combat and fight, Ace is pretty fucking talented himself. Pretty fucking talented himself. And I actually did a reaction to this. I think it was 1 Minute Melee. Way back, you had Ace versus Natsu, and I was just like, I didn't know much about Ace, so I was like, Natsu's gonna kick his ass, let's go for it. And I'll have that in the end cards for you guys. But now I see why some of the comments I got was like, you didn't see Ace at his best. I didn't know Ace tactically was this good of a fighter, because there's even one point where one of Blackbeard's men say Logia type cruisers usually depend on their ability to become intangible, and I would have thought that give them the advantage, but there's something to be said about Ace being an actual commander in the Whitebeard Pirates, because Ace, he's basically figured it out and says, look, I just can't let you touch me, I can't let you suck me in, you take away my devil fruit powers, the gravity kind of pulls him in, so I totally get it. But Ace has this one moment where he basically, Blackbeard chops his ass on the neck, and Ace is actually shooting the fire out. Blackbeard's arm catches on fire, so you get like a little gag moment. Blackbeard's like, hot, 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 hot. But Ace puts his fingers together, and it's almost like he's doing the ninjutsu shit, but he puts his fingers together, and he shoots that cross flame thing, and it hits Blackbeard. And just in those few moments there, it just shows that Ace wasn't going out like a bitch. And the whole time that this fight is going on, right? You got the townspeople looking and they're saying there's gonna be nothing left. And if this is happening before what happened in Enies Lobby, this might be why Luffy's bounty is as high as it is. Like, doing what he did to Enies Lobby is one thing, true. And I even said at a minimum his bounty had to double. But if another town was destroyed by pirates fighting, and you find out there's Blackbeard and one of the Whitebeard pirates, the world government's probably making a fucking example. And that would explain why Smoker's just collecting random fodder at this point, even though he's hunting after Luffy. It totally explains it, because they're trying to make a fucking statement. And so it leads into this question here, what the fuck just happened to Ace? Did Oda kill him off? Because for him to be standing up and sideways, looking off, you know, like he's staring down Blackbeard out the corner of his eye, and he's saying, I'll make Whitebeard the king of the pirates. That's a strong statement, but it's also like a dead man talking. If Ace doesn't die now, Oda has just dropped a hell of a foreshadow. He's dropped a hell of a fucking foreshadow, because this would be the equivalent of, ooh, fuck, I really don't want to use this example, so I'll just backtrack a little bit. This would be the equivalent of Voldemort not setting Snape up to kill Dumbledore. And the reason I'm saying it is there was like a little hint in the Goblet of Fire that Voldemort was going to have Dumbledore killed off. Like, there was a little bit of foreshadowing there, and sure enough, it happened in book number 6. And then when you go back and you reread the series, it's like J.K. Rowling very subtly was showing like Dumbledore isn't invincible. You know, every year that passes, he's getting a little bit older. And the events, like, he's wise, but he's a step too slow to stop these things from occurring. And I feel like that's what's happening with Ace right now. I feel like at this point, it's like, look, like, you thought Ace was invincible. He has the Logia type fruits. You know how powerful they are because of what Nell did. But you got conniving people like Blackbeard who can find ways around it, and it fits into what Shanks was saying, because Shanks, a character like that, who is the direct catalyst for the fucking series itself to start. And we know that Shanks has a connection to Ace now. For him to go to Whitebeard and say, call off this Ace hunt for Blackbeard, call it off, he has potential, that means even Shanks knows there's a possibility Ace could die. So Oda is setting this shit up. If he killed him off now, I'm going to call bullshit. I'm going to say this was too rushed. I feel like this should have been fucking fleshed out. This should have been fleshed out. It should have been put on a fast track, because the stakes are too high at this point. The stakes are too high, and Luffy, the fact that Luffy was even considering taking Usopp back without any repercussions at first, without Usopp having to say I'm sorry and everything, and Zoro had to hammer it into him, it shows that Luffy hasn't quite hit that point where he's like, he's had his coming to Jesus, wake the fuck up moment. Luffy hasn't had that yet. So I feel like it's got to be Ace. It's either got to be Ace or it's got to be somebody in the Straw Hats. Somebody close to Luffy has got to kick the fucking bucket for this dude to wake the fuck up. Like I've said before, Luffy's characterization, he's an idiot, he trolls, but at the same time, like he has leadership stuff that you can't teach. He just has it, but he has to be guided in the right direction. And when you get people like that, not characters, I'm talking real life now. When you get people like that, where they have all the potential and they just don't put it together, sometimes this is where divine intervention happens. Sometimes life has to happen. Life has to kick them in the fucking nuts for them to realize that you can't continue as you are. Everyone has that moment where they have to grow up. And like for me, that moment for me came, I'm probably gonna give away a little too much. Fuck it, I can give this away. That moment for me came right after my sister's dog died, right? And I know it's like, oh shit, how does this fit in? So I told you guys a story about how my sister's dog died. Well, it's still on my shelf back here. Like I have a picture of my dog, right? And my dog was actually given to my sister, right? And my sister had been bringing him home and wasn't really telling anybody, right? Hiding him. And it was so soon after her dog died. And so I guess she wanted to kind of test it out. You know, she got caught and wanted to test it out. So my license was suspended time. So she picks me up from work and she's driving me home. And she says, hey, I've got a dog. And she lifts up the blanket and my dog, you know, almost immediately gets up from her. Like he's probably this big. Like he wasn't any more than 5 weeks old. So he wasn't too big. He's probably about this big. But he crawls out from her lap, curls up in mine, and he just stays there. And getting to the point, you know, so I've got the next couple of days off and I don't have anything I've got to send to my editor and everything. And I remember for me, just kind of spending time playing with them and watching how the dog was following me everywhere just took an instant connection towards me, because you know, the dogs can smell fear, they can smell apprehension, and they can smell when you don't want them. They can pick up on that stuff. And like with my sister, she wasn't having them. He automatically latched to me, and I remember after a while she just couldn't stand it. And so he had been with me for about a week and a half, and she says, I'm just going to take him, I'm going to go put him on the side of the road. I can't deal with it. I don't want him. I can't have him. And I remember me and her, we got in this huge fuss, and I wasn't making enough just off of my own stuff, like off of any writing. I was having to work like a job where I couldn't really support myself. And I remember it was at that moment where I was looking at the dog, and I was just like, if she puts him on the side of the street, you can look at him. He's a Labrador, but he's got some pit features. And I was like, somebody's going to find that dog, and if they don't kill him, they're going to make him into a dog fighter. Because we had a problem in this area where we were staying at the time in the city. We had a lot of people dog fighting, and it was making the news and everything, and I didn't want to see that. And for me, that was the moment where I had to grow up, and I took the dog in, and I basically raised that dog like it's been my own kid, basically. Like I had, because there would be days I would come in from work and I didn't know whether or not she had taken my dog and put him on the side of the street. Like I was literally damn near flirting with getting speeding tickets, because like I was working 20 miles out from my house, and I would get a lunch break and I would just drive. I would take long lunch breaks to drive out there, make sure she didn't get rid of my dog. Then I would just rush the fuck home, and I would get my dog and I would go over to the girl I was dating at the time, and I would just have my dog. Like that would be my thing. Or I would purposely just stay in to make sure that nothing happened to my dog. And eventually, after I've been able to, you know, sustain and support myself, and I put them through chemotherapy and everything, I've done a whole lot. But that was the moment where it got to me. Like I can't keep dicking around. I was just going out every fucking weekend after working, smoking, drinking, partying, was not focusing on what I needed to. I was not taking my writing seriously because I was like, I can't believe I'm getting dicked around like this. What the fuck is going on? Same thing with the school stuff. Like, oh, fuck this shit. Like, I was lost. I got fucking focused. And I credit that. So for me, it was having run the risk of having another life that's dependent on me get taken that made me grow up. And that's what Luffy is, I feel like. Luffy understands the severity of being a captain. If anything happens to his crew, it's on him. That's why he was so dead set on Nico Robin. But he has not experienced genuinely almost losing someone. Nico Robin was close, but Luffy was fighting. It comes to that moment where you have to be in a situation where things are outside your control. Someone else can pull the plug and Luffy can't stop it. And if he's able to, things break the right way and Ace doesn't die and it's just a near-death situation, he grows up. If Ace dies, Luffy grows up. Like, it's gonna take that. Or it's gonna take, I feel like out of everyone on the Straw Hat crew, it's gotta be a situation where Zoro, the first person who joined the crew, either comes close to death or dies. That's gonna be the moment that Luffy wakes up. I'm gonna end my chapter review here because I feel like this has gotten a little too heavy. So my chapter question to you guys is, what are your thoughts on what I said about the fact that Luffy, even after what he experienced at Eames Lobby and previously on Water 7, and even with Skypiea, he has not fully grasped the severity that comes with the title of captain, and that he does need to come close to losing, so genuinely close to losing someone. Like if Nico Robin was on the scaffold about to have her head cut off, that would count. So he needs to come that close to losing someone before he wakes up. What are your thoughts on that? But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, share. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video, guys. Have an awesome day.